Okay, hang on a second. Okay, I'm sorry. My mic was wrong. My mic was bad. Okay, I fixed it now. Can everyone hear me now? Okay, I'm sorry about that. I was saying that I'm sorry about starting up the stream kind of late today, guys. I had to take care of a few things with my rental property and also recording the Saints Row video, and I was editing a little bit of a project earlier also. So I'm really sorry about the delay. I promise the next stream I'll start much earlier, so I'm sorry for that. I haven't forgotten about Red Dead Online. I will always stream this game every Friday, guys. You have my word on that. Okay, let me... And, also, guys, that documentary is coming out, give me a week, and I should have the documentary out on Red Dead Online. The documentary, and it's gonna be, like, just explaining, basically, like, you know, the fall of Red Dead Online, and in that documentary, I'm gonna be explaining why it's not even 1% the player's fault. It's 100% Rockstar's fault for what happened to Red Dead Online. Thank you for playing Saints Row the Third. To be honest, Kill Killbane is better than Save Shawnee because the fighting on the data list is cool. Yeah, I think that it's cool. And like I said, the bad ending is, I think, cooler than the good ending. Oh, man. Okay, you got me. Okay, Evans repeater. At least it's not a Lancaster. Have you ever gotten into a relationship? Well, I don't really talk about that gaming Bickle, but I don't really do relationships. I'm more of a loner. Thank you for the super chat, though. Okay, I'm coming back over to back you guys up. Oh, come on. Okay. Got him there. Okay, doing pretty good here. Okay, I got him. Okay, I'll look at the super chats in just one moment, guys. I'm just trying to stay alive, here. I'm doing pretty well. I'm in the lead right now. Also, next part of Modern Warfare 2 is going to be up in a few days. I'm just a little sorry for the delay. Hey, hi Pro, keep up the good work. Thank you, Brett. Thanks, man. Whoa, okay. How he was still alive after that, I don't know. Okay. Okay, there we go. I think we're gonna win this, guys. Yes, Andrea, I will play the new Saints Row game, yes. I saw your tweet about the New York DA Pro. What did you think of it when you saw it? Like, the thing is, though, I had to check the story, like, multiple times just to make sure that all the information was correct in it, and it was. And I just couldn't believe it. Like, I know a lot of the district attorneys in New York are really stupid, but I can't believe that they're that stupid. Like, that guy should have been in jail. I don't know why they released that guy. There we go. Oh, thank you, Tyler, for sponsoring my channel again. You've been a member for a whole year. Thank you, Tyler. Thanks, man. Okay, just give me a moment, guys. I will read all the I'll read a lot of the comments in just a minute here. Just want to make sure we win this mode here. I'm doing really good. Ah. Oh no, I'm getting cornered. Ah, got shot in the back. Okay. Well, had a good run there. Spawned in a pretty weird location here. I'm gonna get that armor back. Okay. Let me look at the chat. Oh yeah, Rockstar ruined Red Dead, but I'm gonna have like a really good like documentary on this game. Don't worry about that, guys. Okay, good work here, guys. I did pretty well on that run, there. Okay. Okay. Can I play? But I'm only level 20 and don't have a mic right now. You can play with me, Bester. Anybody can play with me. Hey, DL Gaming. Favorite 9mm pistol? Favorite 9mm pistol? Mine's the Glock 17C and 18C. Well, I don't really know much about handguns, honestly. I know much more about rifles, especially bolt-action rifles. But, thank you for the super chat, DL Gaming. Let me see here. Favorite ice cream flavor? Probably chocolate. Chocolate or strawberry. Thoughts on the Many Saints of Newark, Sopranos movie? Thank you, Gaming Bickle and, Aguilar? If I'm reading your name correctly. I didn't get a chance to see the new Sopranos movie still. I just been so busy, but I heard from a lot of people that it wasn't good. Love the content you're doing. By the way, I got an important question. Would you rather be in a room filled with the most poisonous spiders for an hour, or play the Lupe mission, go to Hookies? I think I'd rather play the Lupe mission, but the Lupe mission is still really annoying. Thank you, Dagger Freak. what do you think of the dude in Postal 2, and do you think he has a rougher upbringing than Trevor Phillips? I actually know, I know about the Postal games, but I don't really know much about the story or anything like that, though, JD. So I honestly cannot comment on that, but I do appreciate the super chat. What's the best bike to use as a biker in GT Online? I mean, I like the Hexer, personally. If you're thinking about chopper bikes, Hexer, it can carry 2 people and has decent speed. It was Johnny's bike also. Is GTA 5 coming to mobile? No, that's a scam. Don't fall for that. I've seen those GTA, like, ads that talk about, like, GTA 5 on mobile. That's a scam. Don't listen to that. I don't know if Rockstar will ever even do a Red Dead Redemption 3 at this point. My favorite MC business, the cocaine business. Produces in 5 hours and is the most profitable one, too. Oh, Timberwolf? Can somebody sedate one of these Timberwolves? Because I think I need the, I think I need a sample from the Timberwolf. Can somebody sedate one? I don't have any ammo left for it.
No.
Oh no. Okay, thank you for that. I know Johnny would mock me, but I prefer sport bikes in general, such as the Hakachu, Batty, Double T, in GTA, and the Kenshin, and Canada, and Saints Row. Yeah, I mean, all the motorcycles are kind of cool. Generally, I think all the motorcycles in GTA games are cool, except the Oppressor Mark II. That I just think is stupid. But everything else, generally the motorcycles in GTA games are pretty cool. What is my favorite boxer or MMA fighter? Thank you, Jason, for the super chat. I don't think I really have one. I know a lot of the fighters' names. I've watched it occasionally. I don't really watch MMA. I've watched, like, some of the big boxing matches, those I've seen, but I don't really watch MMA. Thank you, Jason. What is the one thing you don't like about Saints Row 2, even though it's your favorite video game? One thing I don't like about Saints Row 2. Thank you, Gaming Bickle. Oh, yeah. The one thing I don't like about Saints Row 2 is that they never finished the Dex storyline. Yeah, that's what I would say. The Dex storyline was incomplete. What do I think of, a Gilly Master? Gilly Master is a friend of mine. I can't view the new Saints Row episode. I think it's a glitch. Oh, with that, basically just check the video a little bit later. That happens to some people. When I upload a video, sometimes people can't watch it the first hour. I don't know why that happens. It's just a glitch. Check back the video later and I'm sure it'll work. On the behalf of the biker community, I would like to reject the Oppressor Mark II for what it is. I would like to forward it to the Jet community. Thank you, Mr. Waifu.
Bro, we've been attacked by these people again, you know.
Yeah, I'm finding a private session right now. But honestly, if there was something like a motorcycle meet and somebody brought like a Oppressor Mark II to that, I'd freak out if I saw that thing there. Will I be making a new GTA 5 money-making video soon? That is a great question. And to answer that question, yes. There is one final money guide that I'm going to be making on GTA Online, and this is probably going to be my final money guide ever, because there's nothing really else to cover, unless a new business comes out. If a new business comes out in December, I'll do a guide on that, but I am going to be doing a new guide on a money guide. And this money guide that I have coming up, I honestly think this is going to be my best money guide of all time. Out of all of them, I think it's going to be my best one yet. It won't let me add you. Well, Bester, my friends list is full right now at the moment, so I'd have to remove somebody. I don't know who I'm gonna remove, but if you could add somebody else in the lobby here, one of my friends, and then we can just invite you to the session. We can do that, and you can play with me.
Do you want me to let them?
Yeah, you could add a Trio. Just Bester, tell Trio what your PSN is. Thank you for the super chat. Hey, I just want to say I love your lore videos. If I never played the game, I always watch. Keep up the good work. Even if I never played the game, I always watch. Thank you. Thank you, Lee. If I'm saying your name correctly, thanks. Okay, I saw a video of numerous guys looting a 7-Eleven in LA last night. The crime in California is out of control. Thank you, Mario, for the super chat. It's because, correct? It's either the entire state of California or certain parts of California where there's that stupid law, let me send Trio an invite, but I know in California there's that stupid law that it's like, somebody tell me the exact number in the chat. I think it's like, is it like $950 or something like that? That if you steal up to like past $950, then it's a felony. But before that, it's like it's considered a misdemeanor. And so ever since they put in that law, like thefts have skyrocketed. Like shoplifting has skyrocketed in California. But that's just that's just ridiculous. Oh, somebody's saying $700. Okay, Trio, I sent you an invite. Can you, invite me now?
Yeah. Did you get that?
I did. Let me know when you're joining.
Okay. I've accepted it.
Okay. Okay.
Hello, partner.
The money guide video will probably be out in like a week or two. The $950 one person is saying, yeah. But look, and this is what I think is stupid, is that if somebody's stealing hundreds of dollars, like, and this is what a lot of the stupid politicians don't understand. If somebody is stealing hundreds of dollars of stuff from a store, if somebody goes into a store like Walmart and steals like hundreds of dollars worth of like makeup or whatever else, because usually shoplifters, I'm gonna restart my game and join you, a Trio. But look, here's the thing: is shoplifters can sometimes be very intelligent. Like a lot of times people think that shoplifters are stupid because they think of like a drug addict coming in and shoplifting. That does happen, but there are organized groups of shoplifters where they work together and they can plan it out, and they can be very smart. They'll check hallways, they'll check aisles, see where employees are, when employees are walking, and also shoplifters a lot of times know where the cameras are. Like the retail store that I worked at, more than half of the cameras in the store are fake. A lot of times when you go into stores, a lot of times the cameras are fake. A lot of people do not know that. And the reason that there's fake cameras is because it's supposed to be a deterrent towards the shoplifters. But the reason why are there fake cameras? The reason there's fake cameras is because the stores are cheap. They're too cheap to put in actual cameras. A lot of times when you can tell when it's a lot of times the fake cameras are the ones that are kind of like the round shaped ones in the ceiling. Sometimes they're real, but a lot of times those are fake also. The real cameras are the ones that have the wire in them. So if you actually see a wire running down them, they're real. There's almost always a real camera above the register, but shoplifters know that, and so they figured that out pretty quickly. In my store, they figured it out really quickly when I used to work in retail where the cameras were. But getting to my point here is, and this is what the stupid politicians don't understand. When they pass these laws, like in California, that you have to steal like $950 or something like that, and then at that point it's like a felony, what they don't understand is that they're thinking of large stores when they, invite me by the way, Trio. They're thinking of large stores when they make this. Like, if somebody steals, like, you know, hundreds of dollars worth of merchandise from a store like Walmart, that's not going to cause the company to go bankrupt. It's still bad, but it's not going to cause them to go bankrupt. But if somebody goes into, like, a mom-and-pop shop and then start stealing like hundreds of dollars worth of stuff, that could actually cause them serious permanent damage, where the store could actually even go out of business. So that could actually happen. So shoplifting hurts the mom and pop stores the most. Those are the ones, they can't take losses like the big corporations can. And the fact that somebody can go into like a store and steal like hundreds of dollars worth of merchandise, and then the police don't prosecute that as a felony, just give them a misdemeanor or give them a ticket or whatever they're going to do, that's ridiculous. I think that there should be, you know, severe consequences. If you're going to steal hundreds of dollars of stuff, there should be severe consequences. What California, and I don't like talking politics, but from a law enforcement perspective, what California did was stupid. That was stupid. Just that whole shoplifting law, it was dumb. It caused tons of problems. It didn't help. And the politicians are refusing to admit that the law is a disaster. And instead, I'm seeing like videos on YouTube of like stores that are closing down, like even large stores, Target, Walmarts and stuff like that closing down in California. And the politicians do not want to admit that it's their law. They're instead blaming the corporations for leaving, and they're blaming the corporations for causing a loss of jobs. Well, you know, why should they stay there? Why should they do business if they're losing hundreds of dollars with shoplifters and the law isn't being enforced? You know, that's just my personal opinion on it. That's what I think on it. But I think that it's stupid, and I think that it's that.
I know my horses.
But honestly, you know, what I'll say is that you know, if you work in like retail, any kind of like store, if you ever see anybody shoplift, do not confront them, because you don't know what that person is gonna do, because that person could be like a dangerous drug addict and they could attack you. One of my coworkers a few years ago tried to confront a shoplifter, and he pushed her into a shelf. He knocked her into a shelf. She ended up going to the hospital. She's fine. She made a full recovery. But that's you know, you don't confront these people. It's just go and report it to a manager or anything, but you know, don't confront them when you see it happen, because you don't know what state of mind these people are in. Okay, let me start a posse here. Thank you for this session, Trio. Okay, I'm sorry,
Yeah, no problem.
Let me look at, oh, there's a few comments here. I'm sorry if I missed the super chats, guys. I was just telling my stories. Have you heard of Brick Arms? I have a huge collection of their weapons, and I made a video showing them all. I recommend checking it out. It's awesome. No, I haven't, but I could check out your video. Thank you, DL Gaming, for the super chat. What do you think would happen in the Star Wars universe, in your opinion, if Obi-Wan lost to Anakin in Episode 3? Anakin probably would have killed the Emperor and tried to proclaim himself Emperor. The thing is, though, if you play the Star Wars Episode 3, the video game, the Episode 3, the video game, actually has an alternate ending where Anakin killed Obi-Wan, and it shows what happens. Basically, he kills Palpatine and proclaims himself Emperor. You should watch Breaking Bad, highly recommended. I should watch it one day. I know the show, but I never watched it. I've seen clips of it. Which is worse, Merryweather or FIB? Merryweather, it's a corrupt, like, private military organization.
Morning, partner.
Morning, man.
Hey, Pro, I'm going for a Platinum in Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm missing one trophy on the online portion called All's Fair. I have no friends that still play. Do you know anyone who could help me that still plays? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of my friends in this lobby that could probably help you out. Trio, did you ever add that guy, by the way?
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, that's him?
That's
Okay.
him.
Why are
Yeah.
you doing this to me?
Okay, I sent him an invite. Okay.
Hello.
Saucer, are you gonna play with us, by the way?
Oh, I stepped out after a full swing.
Oh, okay, so you're not gonna play anymore?
Not for a while now.
Okay, that's fine. Saul Goodman or Ken Rosenberg, who would you want? What, as a lawyer? Probably Ken Rosenberg, because I know much more about him than Saul. I don't know much about Saul. I know the show. I know he's the lawyer from the show, but... Thank you, When. Will you make a Minecraft Bedrock creeper farm? I actually don't know what that is. I know what Minecraft is, Prodan, but I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't. I have Minecraft. I barely played it, but... hang on. I will invite you, I'll invite you. Venge, can you appear online, please? I think you might be appearing offline.
Hello.
The Silent Boys online players versus Project Brazil Courier 6. Who would win? What pros and cons would they both have, and how would they react? Courier. The Silent. Wait, I'm really sorry, JD. I don't wanna leave you off like this. Can you please explain in a comment who are you talking about on Silent and then Project Brazil Courier 6? Wait, do you mean Fallout? Is that what you're talking about? I'm sorry if I'm sorry if I'm giving you vague answers. I just really don't know what you're talking about.
Pro.
Yes?
Music has asked for a invite to the posse.
Okay. Oh, okay, I guess I'll, let me just, okay, invited. I could play the driver games one day. Yeah, well, Saints Row 1 and 2 required respect to play missions. Saints Row 3 didn't. I don't think Saints Row 4 either did. I will probably run a 100% completion stream of Saints Row 3.
Just watch 'em grow.
Oh, Courier 6 is Fallout New Vegas. Okay, so I was right on that then. Online players versus... But what do you mean by online players, JD? Online players versus the Courier? Would I rather work for Devin or Steve? And why? I mean, maybe Steve, but they're both scumbags. Devin, Devin I think is the worst scumbag. But nah, that's just such a bad choice of two guys to choose to work for. Okay, JD. Okay, let me send you an invite, Venge. Devin is worse than Steve. Steve's just an idiot, yeah. After Steve's death, I'll take over as the host of the Underbelly of Paradise. Imagine if Trevor ran that show that Steve had. That would just, okay, we'll do a bounty mission here. I got Scarface The World Is Yours video game. I like the game. It's very fun. Thank you for telling me about it. No problem, JM58.
Good morning to you.
Who is Agent 14 in GT Online? He's the guy who helps you with the bunker. He's an IAA agent. Watching two of your videos and watching your stream. You a god, bro. Love your stuff. Thank you, Donald. Thanks, man.
You going to die today? I'll surely oblige.
I'm sorry if I missed your super chat, James. What did you, what did you ask me? Let me just check right here. I think I might be able to see. Okay, 1 second here. Who would I want, Johnny Gat or Pierce on your side? Johnny Gat, yeah, he was, Johnny Gat is the, yeah, I would say Johnny Gat. Let me just see here, okay, wait, I'm looking at it, okay, James. How can I become a member? Oh, well, you'd have to hit the join button on, the join button on my channel. There's actually an exclusive stream that I will be doing tomorrow. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern US time for channel members and Patreon supporters. I also do a channel update, in which I show all the Patreon supporters and channel members in it. But don't feel like you have to be a member to get me to respond to you. I'll respond to all comments. I just try my best. There's just a lot of people that post. My headcanon for the GTA Online protagonist is that they're a sociopath. If you play chill and help other players, but psychopath if you're a griefer. Well, the GTA Online protagonist does everything for personal benefit, never really to help anybody. Doesn't really do any selfless acts. Thank you, Mr. Waifu. You should get a pet. Cats mind their business. Maybe one day, David, but I don't really have time for a pet. But maybe one day I could. Did you know Steve Haynes is voiced by the same guy that voiced Red Harlow in Red Dead Revolver? No, I didn't know that, but I know he also voices the guy who, he voices the bouncer at the, Hercules in Troy in, the Ballad of Gay Tony.
Hi there. Yes, that's that.
What do you think is the worst GTA Online DLC and why? Thank you, Leia. Good question. The best, the worst GTA Online DLC and why?
You okay?
The Super Sports series, probably, because it didn't offer anything new whatsoever. Yeah, I'd say probably the Super Sports series. Probably the worst DLC. Who is that, Joey? Well, Arena Wars was a bad DLC also, but Arena Wars at least offered something new, where Super Sports series didn't offer anything new. Okay. Let me actually go to my moonshine business. I want to check that out. Yeah, Arena Wars is like one of the most I think Arena Wars is the most expensive update that I've ever seen on GTA Online. Like, would you guys agree with me on that? I think Arena Wars is like the update that you would, if you want to get everything in Arena Wars, like all the vehicles, everything, Arena Wars is the most expensive update. And not only is it like the most expensive update, but Arena Wars is also the update that pays the least. Like, it pays so little. So little. Like, you are never, like, if you buy every single vehicle in Arena Wars and you fully upgrade it, everything. If you buy everything in Arena Wars and you fully upgrade it, even if you play Arena Wars every day, I don't think that you could still make that money back. That's literally what I think of Arena Wars.
Very well, but this could be cheaper.
Flavoring.
Yes, this will work very nicely.
GTA Online December 22 update, Arena Wars Part 2. No, don't give Rockstar any ideas, Bunny. Yeah, Rockstar. Don't give them ideas on that. Money made from moonshine. Moonshine with at least 18 bottles sold. Okay. Did I seriously ignore my chat, man? No, I didn't, JD. There's just a lot of comments that are coming up. I'm sorry. What was your question? There's just a lot of I didn't see your thing earlier, so I'm sorry about that. There's just a lot of people that are posting, so I apologize for that. I didn't see it, but I see it now. You didn't have to super chat that to tell me, by the way. I would have eventually seen your comment. But the Silent Boys are the online players you play as in GTA Online. I can't believe I have to explain that. Damn, son, that ain't cool. Trey Stewart. Oh, that's what you were talking about. How could I not see it? The GTA Online protagonist. I was confused what you meant by Silent Boys. So you're saying the GTA Online protagonist versus the Courier in Fallout? Well, the Courier in Fallout would have, like, power armor, you know, Fat Man nukes, but the GTA Online players have orbital cannons, Oppressor Mark IIs, you know, ghost organizations, and, like, all these weaponized vehicles, so I'd say, yeah, the Silent Boys would win that fight. I love GTA Online Arena Wars, but it's so dead. Well, the thing is, though, is I don't think that you can really blame Arena Wars for people not playing it. I'll answer in this one moment here that basically, if you play Arena Wars is actually a really fun DLC. Like, just the modes are fun, but the problem with it is the pay. The pay just sucks, and it's pay to win. So if somebody gets the upgraded Arena Wars vehicles, they're almost always gonna win versus the other people. And barely anyone plays Arena Wars anymore. Sorry about that. I just didn't know, so I apologize. It's fine, JD. Just know that sometimes I miss super chats and comments. I apologize for that. There's just like a lot of people that are posting at once. I wasn't trying to ignore you. It was just an accident. Yeah, some of the vehicles, like the Death Bike, are great, but then you have some of the other vehicles, like the Cerberus, I think it was. That's a terrible one. The game modes for Arena Wars is definitely fun, but the payout is just trash. Oh yeah, 100%. Could America fall like how the Roman Empire did? I mean, it's you know, we're comparing an empire that existed, you know, how long Rome collapsed in like 500 AD, like close to around there. So like an empire that exists over, you know, 1500 years ago to today. I mean, you know, anything is possible. It's always possible for countries to collapse. I think it'd be a lot harder, but basically, the Roman Empire collapsed for a number of reasons, but it was because they, the Roman Empire, and this is like, you know, Caesar in like Fallout New Vegas doesn't seem to understand how ancient Rome actually collapsed. He's kind of stupid on that, but basically, the reason that ancient Rome collapsed is because of their constant militarization. Rome was spending, like, so much money on their military, way too much money, and what Rome was doing is, Rome was actually conquering territories, and instead of securing that territory and securing the resources in that territory, they just moved on to the next territory. That's what they would do, and so they would sometimes have rebellions in the territories that they would capture before moving, and they would just keep moving on to the next territory. Like when Rome was like reaching its breaking point, like when it was about to collapse, like economically, they were still trying to conquer parts of modern day Germany, and they were fighting like the Germanic tribes there. So like Rome just had an obsession with just trying to conquer and conquer and conquer, and they didn't have the resources to govern all of that, and that's, you know, one of the main reasons for them, you know, falling apart. You know, they just kept getting involved in a lot of these wars, and they just kept pushing and pushing more, and their economy just crashed and collapsed, and the whole thing fell apart. Spread too far too thin, like the NCR in Fallout New Vegas. Yeah, and ironically, though, that's the ironic thing, and let me see, JD. The Courier 6 also has a VATS and has the health threshold of a Terminator. He's even more dangerous than the Playa Claude or the Postal Dude. Well, if that's the case, then I think that the Courier would defeat the GTA Online protagonists. Definitely at that point. But The ironic thing is, and I don't know if this is deliberate or not, but in Fallout New Vegas, the NCR is actually making the same mistakes that the ancient Roman Empire did, where the Caesar's Legion isn't really making that same mistake. I mean, Caesar's Legion is making other mistakes, obviously, and Caesar's Legion is not a force for good. They're bad. But the thing about Caesar's Legion is that Caesar's Legion, when they conquered territory in Fallout New Vegas, they secured it. They secured it and they got it under control. Where the NCR is doing exactly what ancient Rome did, where they're taking more and more land and they're not securing it. Now, what's the difference between taking land and securing it? Taking land basically means you just annex it. Securing land basically means that you have the whole thing under law and order. It's under your control. You're taxing the area. You have like law enforcement, government officials, governing it. That's what the difference is between taking something and securing it. But like, for example, look at the Wild West. Like, the Wild West was technically part of America. Like, it was land that America had taken, but it wasn't secured. Because there was a lot of places where there was no law and order. There's just a local sheriff, and the local sheriff sometimes did not have the proper jurisdiction of certain places. What's his name? For instance, Wild Bill Hickok. Wild Bill Hickok was like a famous gunslinger, and what had happened was Wild Bill Hickok was assassinated in a saloon while he was playing poker. So he was playing poker against this guy, and the guy had lost and got pissed, but the guy was also an assassin. So he was hired there to kill Hickok, Wild Bill Hickok. I don't remember the reason why he killed him, but what happened was the next day, he came into the saloon and just shot like Wild Bill in the back of the head. And I think he claimed that Wild Bill had killed somebody from his family, like, in the past, or something like that. And he bragged about it. And what ended up happening was, when he went to trial, this happened in Nebraska? No, this happened in modern-day South Dakota. So he went to trial, and what ended up happening was, he was found not guilty, and then what he did was he went to Wyoming, which was a different jurisdiction, and he bragged about it, and then he was put on trial for murdering Hickok, and he failed there, was found guilty and hanged. So, Wyoming and South Dakota, like, Wyoming said that the courts in South Dakota were not valid, because they weren't, like, U.S. Courts. And so that's, like, that was, like, basically it. So, that's the ultimate reason why the NCR is going to fail in Fallout New Vegas. The reason maybe I'll do a lore video explaining the factions in Fallout one day, but the NCR would ultimately collapse because the NCR just keeps taking more and more territory and they don't secure it. They take it, they make it part of their land, but they're you could argue they are an empire, and they don't secure it. And so if you talk to a lot of the NPCs, they can tell you that there's fiends, super mutants, like other hostile things all over the NCR territory, even back in California. So the NCR is trying to push into modern-day Nevada. They're trying to take over Las Vegas, and yet they still have not even secured the land that they've taken back in California. And so that's ultimately gonna just screw them over really bad. And that's the ridiculous thing about the NCR, is the NCR in the Fallout world expected citizens to pay taxes, but yet they don't ask citizens whether you want to be part of the NCR. They claim that they're a democracy, but then they come into an area, they take it over, they annex the land without asking people whether they want to be annexed in the first place. They give them no choice, they just take over the land, and then they expect people to pay taxes to them. And, if you're going to pay taxes to the NCR, they better secure the area and they better make it safe. Because then why should any NCR citizen pay taxes if they're not going to make it safe? If the NCR area, you can go through there and you're going to get jumped by raiders or super mutants or something else, and they're not going to, protect you, what's the point of paying taxes to the NCR? So that's ultimately why the NCR would fail. Now, Caesar's Legion, they're bad guys, I'm not defending them. But one thing that the Caesar's Legion did that the NCR didn't fail at is they secured their area. So all the area that Caesar's Legion took in Arizona, they got rid of all the opposition. Everybody that fought against them, they got rid of it. They have no resistance in those areas. There's no super mutants that attack people. There's no raiders. None of that. The Legion was very brutal, and they are bad guys, but they did secure the area, and so they got the area under control, which the NCR didn't get their land under control. So that's a little bit of the lore regarding the factions in it. And if you talk to the merchants in Fallout New Vegas, they will actually tell you it's safer to actually sell stuff in Legion territory than it is in NCR territory. So they are because the Legion secured the area. So that's
There's a comment on there that says there's a bot in the chat.
Wait, what is it?
A bot.
There's a bot?
Yeah, in the chat.
But thank you for the super chat, Alex. Let me see here. The stupidest thing is when they split the empire. I mean, it wasn't the most intelligent thing either. But the reason Rome split their empire into Western and Eastern is because there was too much land to govern. That's ultimately why they did it.
I blocked it.
Rome was one of the few to conquer, oh, thank you, Saucer. Rome was one of the few to conquer England and Wales. Yeah, Rome conquered, like, a lot of territory.
Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about it.
But they weren't able to fully secure everything.
They never got Scotland because of like a wall they built in the middle.
The Mongolians, other famous conquerors, the Mongolians conquered way more territory than ancient Rome. And the Mongolian Empire's economy was actually pretty good. Like, their economy didn't go down the drain like Rome did. And the Mongolians had actually secured their territory. So the Mongolians had actually, you know, eliminated all resistance, everybody that fought against them in the territory that they conquered. But the reason that the Mongolian Empire collapsed, it wasn't because of, like, their economy. It wasn't even because of the land they conquered. The reason the Mongolian Empire collapsed is because when the Khan died, he left no successor. And so there's basically all these civil wars, and the Mongolians were just fighting amongst each other on who would rule the empire next, and that's ultimately what brought its downfall. Simply because the leader didn't leave a successor. The world would be a very different place today if the Mongolian Empire never collapsed. It'd be a very different place. What was one subject you always struggled on and one subject you did well on? Well, the subject I always did well in was history. History I always did perfect in. The subject I always struggled in was math. People would think that I'm good at math because of my money guides in GTA, but I actually struggled in math. Thank you, Gaming Bickle, for the super chat. It's not all about pay. Certain DLCs are designed to get you used to how these vehicles operate. I understand that, Ben. I understand your perspective. And like I said, Arena Wars, I think, was fun. I think it was a fun DLC. But if you're not going to have good, like, pay, and the pay doesn't even have to be, like, amazing. But if it's not, like, at least decent pay, people aren't going to play it. And that's ultimately what killed Arena Wars. There was really no reason to play it because of that. Did you hear about the failed attempt to recall the LADA? Oh, no, I did not hear about that. I'm pretty sure there was a recall. Gascon was the guy's name, I think. But what, it failed? But a lot of these DAs don't know what they're doing.
Job well and truly done. They're going to face it.
Fiends are basically what would happen if you tried to make them feral via constant drug use. Look at the result of their gang and their barbarity. So that's basically the difference between fiends and raiders, that fiends are just basically raiders that are constantly high. I always wondered why they're called fiends in Fallout New Vegas versus raiders. But thank you JD for the super chat. You may suck at math, but your money guides are actually very helpful. Thank you, Drift. Let's see here if we got another bounty to do. Did I ever think about being a doctorate to get a history professor? I think that would be cool. Not really, no. I don't know if I really wanted to be a history teacher either. History is just something I'm fascinated by, and I like reading and like learning about it. Like the Mongolian Empire, for instance, is like a very interesting civilization to read about, because a lot of people think that the Mongolians are barbarians, which the Mongolians were the Mongolian Empire was very brutal. They killed a lot of people, but people don't understand. They had a lot of advancements in technology. They were very rich. They made a lot of money. And it's also, they managed to govern a very large territory. I think Ghost of Tsushima depicted the Mongolians pretty historically accurately as well. A lot of the fiends are normal people who are so pumped up on the hardcore drugs that they can't even think rationally, making them technically rabid. Huh. Well, JD, you probably know this, but do you know that originally, in the original version of Fallout New Vegas, the fiends were actually supposed to be people that you could interact with. So they were going to be people that you could actually talk to. Like, there was dialogue of, like, Cook, Driver, Nephi, all those fiends. Like, there was actual dialogue with them. So, like, they weren't meant... But then, at the last minute, they actually made them hostile. So they actually made them attack you on sight. But, those, a lot of the fiends were originally people that you were going to be able to interact with. There's videos on YouTube where somebody restores the dialogue for the fiends. I wish GTA Online had more missions that wasn't just drive to a place, shoot bad guys, repeat. Lazy mission design, if you ask me. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Leia. And I understand what, like... You know, Rockstar was trying to do something different with the Lupe missions in GTA Online, but they failed. Because the thing is, though, if they wanted to make that, like, a new mission, it should have been part of something else, or at least given you, like, 10 crates. But they took something that was, like, a crate resupply, which should actually be a pretty simple mission, and they just made it really complicated. The biggest empire in history was the British. Well, Britain, I think it was controlled like 25% of the world's land, but I think the Mongolian Empire controlled like close to 30% of the world's land mass. It's gonna be really close between the Mongolians and the British on who controlled more land. I'd have to see.
It was Britain.
Thank you, JD. I would have to look that up here. Okay, so it says, okay, so there's like kind of like a divide on what people are saying, what empire was bigger, the Mongolian Empire or the British Empire. Most people are arguing that the British Empire was bigger, but I'm seeing some people are saying that the Mongolian Empire had actually technically conquered more than the British Empire because the Mongolian Empire defeated, you know, massive armies. Massive army. The Mongolians were just fighting so many wars at once. So that's what some people are arguing here. I mean, the Mongolians had conquered Russia in the wintertime. A lot of people don't know that. The Mongolians actually invaded Russia in the wintertime. Whenever other armies invaded Russia, they started out in the summertime, but they got dragged there into the wintertime. So a lot of times when people invade Russia, they try to invade Russia in the summertime or early spring, and they thought that they could defeat Russia before the winter kicks in. They failed, and then the winter kicked in, and then they lost miserably. But the Mongolians actually defeated Russia in the wintertime and conquered them. So a lot of people don't know that. And the reason the Mongolians actually liked to invade Russia in the wintertime was because they could send their cavalry over the ice lakes in Russia. That's why. So that's, Also, the Mongolians, one of the reasons that they were just such an effective, like, you know, fighting force, the Mongolians were definitely, like, I would say, if you look at all of world history, the toughest, like, conquerors in the world that, like, you know, were the toughest in battle, I'd say, is the Mongolians. I know, you know, we're comparing, like, you know, medieval to, like, modern day, but the Mongolians, in their country, like, their climate is, like, it can get very hot in the summertime, like, there's deserts in Mongolia, but it also gets very cold in the wintertime. And so the Mongolians are used to both really cold temperature and really hot temperature, where usually one civilization is used to a cold temperature, or they're used to a hot temperature, but the Mongolians were used to both. And so that didn't bother them. The extreme heat didn't bother them, the extreme cold didn't bother them, and that made them a very effective, like, force at conquering. I wish more games would cover that time period. Ghost of Tsushima did a pretty good job with it, but I would like to see, you know, more medieval games. I know Assassin's Creed Revelations did a little bit of that, where there's like an Altair flashback where the Mongolians are attacking Masyaf, but I wish that there was like more games that would do like that time period specifically. Enjoyed your Saints Row 2 playthrough. Thank you. Yeah, I know, JD. I just didn't know if you knew, but... Let me see here. If Trevor doesn't like betrayal, why did he betray the Lost MC? Well, the thing is, though, is I don't know if you would really call it a betrayal, because Johnny pretty much pissed Trevor off. So, a betrayal was like... Also, you have to think about it. Trevor lost a lot of his customers, also, when he killed the Lost, because Trevor was selling meth to them. So he was doing business with them. So it actually kind of hurt Trevor more than benefited him by getting rid of the Lost. But the reason he got rid of the Lost is because he's just insane. Because Johnny pissed him off, and once he killed Johnny, who was the leader of the Lost, he knew there was no going back. That he'd have to get rid of all the Lost because the Lost weren't going to stop. So he just went over there and got rid of all of them. So, like, Trevor generally he's not going to betray anybody, but if you piss him off, he could kill you. So he's, like, Trevor isn't going to pull, like, a Dimitri, where he's going to screw you over because he's greedy. He's not going to do that. He would kill you if you piss him off too much. So if you piss him off too much, then he's probably going to kill you. But he's not just going to backstab people like Dimitri. You know, that's the difference.
And there's another bot in the chat.
Wait, what'd you say?
Another bot.
Another bot? Where? What's the bot?
Yep.
Oh, I see it. I'm banning it.
It's that. Yeah.
I'm banning the bot. I'm sorry, man. I don't know what the hell is wrong with these bots. Like, these creepy, like, bots are just coming out of nowhere and just spamming the chat, like, a lot of times. And I'm not the only one this is happening to. I've seen other YouTubers have these same bots, like, go on their channels, so I don't know where these bots are coming from.
Yeah, when I did my stream, I don't think I have included any bots on mine, but...
Will you ever get a Resident Evil 4 remake when it's out? Maybe. Maybe I'll play it. Undead, thank you for the super chat. Pro, what does it mean when a judge says overruled? It would basically be like, somebody trying to push something through, and then another person trying to deny it, and then the judge saying no, overruled, that let it go through. So, like, an example of that would be like, the prosecution trying to bring something up, and the defense would raise an objection, and the judge would say objection denied, overruled. And so he basically let the other side continue on with what they were. Basically, the judge, what overrule basically would be, so like one side would interrupt the other side, and the judge would say no, it can go through. That's basically the simplest form of it. Thank you, Blink. Are you gonna try out the Boss Factory? I am. Thank you, Blink, for sponsoring my channel. Okay, let me see here. Later, Pro, a good stream. Thank you, Felix. Thanks, man. Okay. Okay, let's get on over there. Does anyone in here need to sell anything, by the way? Did I see a Wendy's worker punched and killed an old man over a complaint? I think that's what my friend was telling me about earlier. Trio, is that story that you were telling me about earlier?
Yeah, the guy came from the other side of the counter and hit him and he died a few days later. It's really sad.
Oh my god. That's horrible.
The only thing I have to sell is my moonshine. That's pretty much it.
Okay, why don't we help you then? Invite us to it, Brandon. Oh, I'm actually in your posse. I could just join right away. I don't really want to get into that, Joey, because that's a very controversial topic in history. What I will say, though, about the, Japan during World War II is that, like, a lot of people think that the Emperor of Japan, like Hirohito, they think that the Emperor was innocent, and they think the Emperor didn't know about a lot of this stuff. The Emperor knew. Like, he probably didn't know to the complete extent of what the military was doing, but the Emperor knew that a lot of people were dying and that the Japanese military was committing horrible atrocities, especially in China. So the Emperor was not innocent. The Emperor was not the one who ordered Pearl Harbor. A lot of people think he was. That was actually Tojo, who was the shogun of Japan. He planned that whole thing out. But the Emperor actually signed off on documents which he allowed the Unit 731 to actually use biological and chemical weapons on Chinese civilians. So the Japanese actually during World War II were using biological weapons on civilians in China, and the Emperor knew about that. So it was the Emperor is by no means innocent. A lot of people think he was. If you want to know why was the Emperor never
Why
put
was
on
he able?
not put on trial, is that what your question is? Is that your question, Trio?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, why was he able to walk free? Because like I've seen a video, like
the reason the Emperor
visited America and everything, didn't he?
The reason the Emperor was able to walk free and never was prosecuted was because he was considered the cultural symbol of Japan, and so the U.S. knew that if they had prosecuted the Emperor, that there would be massive riots and endless civil wars in Japan, and so you have to understand that Japan back then, in the 1940s, is very different than today. Back then, like, if I was to compare Japan to anything today, Japan was similar to North Korea, back then, like, in the 1940s. Like, Japan wasn't as poor as North Korea. Like, you know, the average Japanese wasn't very rich, but Japan was not extremely poor. But the similarities between North Korea and Japan is that the Japanese saw the Emperor as a god. He was considered a godlike symbol, and you would never question the Emperor. You would never say anything bad against the Emperor. That was like one of the worst like sins that you could commit in Japan. And so the Emperor was seen as like basically a god. And if the U.S. put him on trial, the Japanese public would have been extremely outraged, and there would have been riots. There would have been endless civil wars. There would have been uprisings. And so ultimately, the U.S. knew that the Emperor was guilty, but the reason they didn't put him on trial is because they knew that if they instead convinced the Emperor to tell his people to stop, that the Japanese would stop. Because again, remember, there was a lot of the Japanese wanted to keep fighting until the very end. They were not going to surrender, because in Japan, Bushido, the code of the samurai, it's considered worse than death to surrender. So they actually they considered it, a lot of the Japanese military, they considered surrender worse than death, and so they would fight on until the very end. If you like compare like battles that happen in Europe and like Asia, for instance. Like, a lot of the Germans, for example, a lot of them near the end of the war were surrendering, like in masses. Like, the Germans near the end of the war, late 1944 or to 45, a lot of them were surrendering. The ones that kept on fighting in Germany were, like, the SS, who were, like, the most fanatical to the Nazi regime. You know, those were the guys that, you know, supported the regime no matter what. They were going to fight till the very end for it. But, you know, a lot of the average Germans were just giving up. They were surrendering. They saw no point in fighting. They knew they were going to lose. But the Japanese, on the other hand, a lot of them would just keep on fighting, and they would not surrender. And if you actually look at the island campaigns in the Pacific, there was very few prisoners that were actually taken during the island battles. I'm talking about like Iwo Jima, Saipan, Guadalcanal. Very few prisoners were taken in these battles. And the reason is because they fought till the very end. The few prisoners that were taken usually were Japanese soldiers that were wounded, and then they were found, and then they were healed in like a hospital or something like that, an infirmary. That's usually the prisoners that were taken. A lot of the Japanese officers would also kill themselves before they would surrender. So basically, what ended up happening is when the Emperor had actually told the Japanese public that we're surrendering, and the Emperor did not even use the word surrender. He basically said we're ending hostilities. A lot of the Japanese public just stopped, and so they listened to the Emperor. And so the U.S. knew that if they convinced the Emperor to tell his people to stop, that there wouldn't really be any civil wars or uprisings. I'm gonna keep going. And also, another reason why the U.S. kept the Emperor around is because the U.S. was actually scared that if the emperor, if the emperor was taken out, that there would be a potential for a communist uprising in Japan. Which there was the Japanese Red Army, which that was like a terrorist group, which they could have actually taken over Japan. There's actually a possibility of that, and so the U.S. wanted Japan to be a partner against like the Soviet Union. And that's ultimately why the Emperor was spared. But the Emperor by no means was, like, innocent. He knew about the bad things that were going on. He was fine with it. He did nothing to stop it. So, like, when I hear people say that the Japanese Emperor was innocent, that's not true. He knew about the stuff that was going on, and he didn't do anything to stop it. Let's get on over to Van Horn Fence.
Yeah, I was going to say another bar, but it's taken care of.
Does Japan still have emperors today? Or is
Yeah,
that
they
like a
still
thing?
have it. They still have the emperor system in Japan today. But I think that with Japan's royal family, I think correct me if I'm wrong. I think the next person in line could actually, I think, be a woman. And I don't think that Japan has ever had like an empress in their history. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But there's like controversy over that in Japan. I don't see the big deal. I don't see the big deal if the emperor is a woman or empress. I don't see why people would get upset over that. But that's like a controversy that's going on in Japan right now.
Isn't it just like the same position as like a king or queen in like the UK? Or
Yeah,
is
they're
it more
kind of like a
powerful?
cultural symbol in Japan. They don't really have, they don't really have like power.
No.
Okay, let's get over here. I think I broke one of the bottles. I'm sorry, Brandon.
Yeah, that's fine. Just want to make sure, because I do believe, I think you have to stay 18 to 20 bottles, so that's good. If it is.
Oh, let me look at the chat.
Yeah.
I missed a few super chats. I apologize for that. I know history really well, by the way, guys. So when I start talking history, I can keep talking for some time. Do you think Dude and Trevor would get along? Dude? Who's Dude? Is that a Fallout character? Who's that? Anybody know? Thank you, JD. Can you explain to me who Dude is? You don't have to super chat it, JD, but just explain to me who Dude is. The bigoted bots in my replies are the worst. Where are you seeing these bots, Mr. Waifu? I'll ban them. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Blink, for sponsoring the channel. Oh, I looked bench one off. Okay, which is more messed up? The boss, making Marrow crush Jessica in a demolition derby, or the boss crushing Matt's hand? Honestly, the boss crushing Matt's hand. I think that's actually worse. Because Jessica kind of deserved it. Like, Jessica was not innocent, like, innocent bystander by any means. Jessica was, like, the second in command of the Brotherhood. She organized Carlos's death, and, like, as messed up as it is, what the boss did to Jessica, at least that was, like, a quick death. Even though it was very brutal. Where, like, Carlos was, like, dragged for you know, however long. And just, it was the way Carlos died, it was not a quick death by any means. It was just so brutal. So it was Matt, on the other hand. Matt was just an idiot. Like, that's what I would use to describe Matt. Matt was a civilian. He wasn't really like a gang member, but Matt was kind of one of those guys, and there's people like Matt in real life. Matt is one of those guys that he's like, oh, it's cool to hang out with a gang and everything like this. There's dumb people like that in real life. They think it's cool to hang out with a gang. They're not necessarily members of the gang, but they think that it's somehow cool or that it makes them badass or something like that. But that's the type of guy Matt was. Matt was an idiot, and Matt ultimately brought it on himself. He did bring it on himself, because he hung out with the gang, which, when you hang out with, like, a gang, a mafia, any kind of criminal organization, and there's another gang or mafia that's after that criminal organization, you are a target at that point. They don't care. If you just associate with that gang, if you're not even a full member, you are a target. The moment there's a gang war with another gang, you are a target. That's ultimately, Matt brought that on himself, so, by hanging out with the Brotherhood. And also, Matt was Meryl's, like, childhood friend, so that's how they knew each other. But Matt wasn't really involved in the criminal aspect of the Brotherhood, but he should have just stayed away from it. Like, maybe kept contact with Marrow, but, like, not associate with them. And that was his ultimate downfall. The boss saw that he associated with Marrow, and he exploited that. So it was I think it was worse what happened to Matt, because Matt was more of an innocent bystander, but it's still his fault, because he associated with the gang. Who would get along better? Courier 6 and Claude, the Postal Dude and Trevor, Tommy Vercetti and Tony Montana, Aldo and Phil Bell. I think Aldo and Phil Bell would probably get along the best, because Aldo's not gonna snitch, and he does, what he's told. He's loyal, and I think Phil would like that the most. So I'd say Phil and Aldo would probably get along the most. Yeah. Thank you, JD.
So I looked it up a little bit more, and not this event week, but the next one, it's I think it's King of the Castle.
How long is King of the Castle in?
It's on my screen. It starts at 1:30, so I don't know how long you're gonna be.
It starts at 1:30?
Yeah.
Oh, that's like in 2 hours. Yeah, probably not. What do I think of the Italian and Russian mobs? Thank you, DL Gaming. The Russian mob is worse, I honestly think. Like, the Russian mob is, like, more brutal. And the thing is, though, is that I would argue that the Russian mob is actually more powerful than the Italian mob. That's what I would argue. Like, people think that the Italian mafia is is, like, super powerful, which they are powerful, don't get me wrong, but they don't have the power that they used to have. Like, basically, 100 years ago, the Italian mafia used to rule Sicily. They ruled that entire island. That's how powerful the mafia was. But the reason I would say the Russian mafia is more powerful, because the Russian mafia emerged after the Cold War, and so what happened was when the Soviet economy collapsed, and this went from the Soviet Union to being Russia, like, the reason that there's so many billionaires in Russia today is because those billionaires were like former directors of Soviet factories and plants, and so they stole a lot of government property. And so the Russian mafia was heavily involved in that. They exploited that a lot. And in the 1990s, the Russian mafia was one of the strongest criminal organizations in the world. Like, they were so powerful in Russia. And the Russian mafia has connections to the Russian government today. They have connections to oligarchs, which oligarchs are the Russian billionaires. So the Russian mafia has influence in the Russian government itself. So that's why I would say the Russian mafia is is very powerful. And also, if there's some Russian mobster that commits a crime in the West and then tries to flee to Russia, the Russian government will not extradite him, no matter what the crime is. So even if he's like a murderer, the Russian government will not extradite him. So I would say the Russian mafia is more powerful than the Italian mafia. And also, it's the brutality of the two. I would say the Russian mafia is more brutal than the Italian mafia. I'm not saying the Italian mafia are good guys by any means. They're evil, terrible people as well. But the Italian mafia, there are certain things that they won't do. Like, generally, like, they have a code to a degree. Generally, like, you're not supposed to, like, when there's like a war going on between like families, or there's like a hit out on somebody, typically they're not supposed to kill the target's family, but the Russian mafia won't care about stuff like that. And so there was like a lot of cases in New York, for example. I remember there was this case in New York where there was this woman that was killed. It was like a decade or so ago in New York, and I'm trying to remember who the killer was. But it wasn't anybody even related to the mafia. It was just somebody she had a problem with. But basically what happened was she was related to some mobster, and so the NYPD quickly figured out that it wasn't like a mafia hit, because if the mafia wouldn't go after the person's daughter, they would just go after the person. So that was and the NYPD were able to quickly rule out mafia involvement in that killing. But it's not to say that all mafias follow that code, but there are certain codes that they have to an extent. Like the mafia, for instance, aren't just gonna jump people on the street. Like, they're not gonna just rob you when you're coming down the street. That's petty to them. They don't care about stuff like that. Gangs are generally gonna rob you when you go down the street and stuff like that. You would have to worry about, if you own a store in a mafia neighborhood, then you'd have to worry about the mafia would come into your store and extort you. But the Russian mafia, they don't have limits. They'll do what they feel like doing. I think the Russian mafia was covered very well in GTA 4. It was just, yeah, I'd say they're more brutal and they're more powerful than the Italian mafia. That's just my opinion on it, personally. Let me see here. Jessica killed Carlos. Yeah, I know.
Pro, can you help me sell my trader?
Sure. One moment here. Great Steam Pro. Thank you. Could you add me on PlayStation if possible? I could try to, Alex, but my friends list is full at the moment. You could tell me your PSN and I can see if I can add you. What about the Japanese Mafia? They're as brutal as well? No. You're talking with the Yakuza. The Yakuza I know are very brutal, but the Yakuza do not have as much influence and power as they used to be. Like, Japan really broke them up. There still are Yakuza that exist in Japan, but they're not as powerful. And what Japan actually did to break them up, I talked about this on a previous, like, stream, but what Japan did to break up the Yakuza, it's, like, very controversial. Like, I don't think that would happen in America, for instance. You know, some people agree with it, some people say it goes too far, but basically what the Japanese government does is if somebody was a member of the Yakuza and they get out of prison, if they try to associate with the Yakuza in any way, shape, or form after they get out of prison, the Japanese government will actually shut down their bank accounts, they will shut down their credit cards, basically won't let them make any money. It will make it difficult for them to pay bills, you know, stuff like that. And so, generally, like, at least in my country in America, generally in most places, it's not a crime to be part of a gang. So it's not a crime to be, like, you know, a member of a, you know, a gang or a mafia or something like that. It's a crime to commit a crime, you know, as part of the mafia, obviously. But, you know, they can't really arrest you for associating with a gang. You know, what are they going to charge you with? You know, there really isn't a charge, at least in my country, there really isn't a charge for being a member of a gang. I know other countries do it differently. If you're a member of a gang, you can get arrested. But, like, Japan does it where if they associate with the Yakuza after they get out of prison, they keep a track on them. They will go after their bank accounts, their credit cards, and they'll shut that all down. And so, it makes it impossible for them to make any kind of money. So that's what Japan has done about it. Now, I think that the triads in China, for instance, I think that the triads are much more of a problem than the Yakuza. I think the triads are worse, and I think that they're a much, like, greater problem. What's your favorite state besides New York? I don't know if I really have a favorite state. I mean, I like the Midwest where I moved to. I don't really want to say the state, but it's like I like you know, where I live, and it's a nice place. I'm probably gonna do a video on maybe where I live in the Midwest in November. Maybe I'll do it then and explain. Let me see here. Will you be playing Modern Warfare 3 after you finish Modern Warfare 2? Also, do you think that Red Dead Redemption will get a remake? No. A Rockstar is stupid. Rockstar does... that rumor is supposedly true, where, like, Rockstar... let me go to your camp, by the way, Trio. So there's this rumor that's going around that, like, Rockstar supposedly canceled the Red Dead Redemption remake because of how the definitive edition of GTA did. But the thing about that is that the reason the definitive edition failed wasn't because people didn't want remasters. They wanted remasters. It was because the remaster itself was bad. That's ultimately the reason why it failed. And so Rockstar is stupid, in that regard. Do you think Twitter would improve under Elon Musk's ownership? I don't know if they would improve, but I don't think it could get worse. That's what I think. Like, and Elon Musk, I don't think... he's not gonna buy it anymore at this point, but, when people were freaking out about, like, Elon Musk buying Twitter, I think people were going way too far. Like, people were making such a big deal out of it, like it's the end of the world when Elon Musk was supposedly going to buy Twitter, when, you know, there's much more important things going on in the world. Like, him buying Twitter is, like, the least of my concerns. Like, I could care less. And honestly, Elon could buy Twitter and delete it, and I could really care less, too. I know I use Twitter for my channel, but it's good to, like, get messages out on stuff like that, but Twitter is so toxic at times that I would not care if it was deleted. Like, that's just, what I personally think about it. But it's, okay, Alex, I'll see if I can add you afterwards. Oh, well, they're a bunch of idiots, Viper. A lot of those skinhead gangs the U.S. cracked down on. But, like, those guys, yeah, those guys are just a bunch of creeps and just a bunch of idiots. They're obviously don't go down here. Do not go. No, stop. Don't go down there. You go down there, that wagon's gonna crash. It's gonna collapse. Like, give me control. I lost the full wagon one time going down there. This GPS route, like, or I shouldn't even call this GPS because it's map. Like, the map will tell you to go down here. Never go down here if you have a wagon. Don't ever go down here. You will. There's no chance of surviving it. You will 100% lose it all the time. It's stupid. The map tells you to go there, but it's dumb. So that's that. Viper, there's a lot of comments that are coming up. I just... When's the next part of Modern Warfare 2 coming out? Like in a few days. There's a hat that I have to get. Because the hat that they sent me was the wrong size. So I gotta get another hat again. And, Are you saying you find it hard to reply to 500 people at once? Well, thank you, Project, for the comment. Who is the worst corrupt, Leo in the HC universe? Francis... Wait, you mean police? In the... Francis McCree or Steve Haynes or Dave Norton? The worst corrupt cop in the entire, like, GTA series? I'd have to think about that. Tenpenny. Yeah, it's Tenpenny's the worst corrupt cop. Yeah, Tenpenny, definitely, 100%. Tenpenny's the most corrupt cop in the entire GTA series. Can I join your posse? If you guys have room in my your session, my PSN is Aussie Guy. Do I have you added, Aussie Guy? Thank you for the super chat. My boyfriend is coming over tomorrow. We love watching your videos. Much love. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you, Coffee. Thank you for the comment. Glad that you enjoy my content. Trio, could you shoot these guys while I'm driving away? I just don't want to crash. What do I think of cartels? I'll tell you this. The people that move drugs are some of the most cold-blooded people out there. I'm not even talking about the regular drug dealer. I'm talking about the cartels, like the people, suppliers, cartels. The people that move drugs are some of the most coldest people out there. Like if you compare them to the Mafia, they're way more cold-blooded than the Mafia, the cartels. Like, they have almost no remorse, like no conscience whatsoever. What do I think of cancel culture? I think that it's stupid. I think it's dumb. Like, it's like... The thing is, though, is that when people are younger, you know, they make mistakes in their life and they say dumb things. You know, everybody says dumb things and does dumb things when they're younger. When they get older, they mature and have a better understanding of the world. But the fact that, like, somebody will try to find somebody's tweets from like 10 years ago or something like that and then try to cause them problems in like modern day over that, that's just stupid. And I'm gonna say, like, the people that do that stuff are losers. Like, who looks at what somebody said from like 10 years ago and literally tries to go after them over it today? People change, they're different, they're not the same like that they were 10 years ago. And like, I honestly think that the whole cancel culture stuff, I think that it's stupid, it's idiotic. And honestly, every single person could get canceled. Like, every person. The people that cancel others, like, I guarantee you, if you look back, you could probably find something that they said 10 years ago, or even more, that they could probably get canceled for. So it's like, this whole thing is just stupid. I'll tell you, the people on Twitter are the worst with that. Like, the mob on Twitter. I'm not talking about the Mafia. I'm talking about, like, this group of people on Twitter that are just, they're so obsessed with that. Like, they stalk people, like, they have nothing better to do. They sit on Twitter and they think that there's some kind of heroes fighting for some kind of cause. But, they were just wasting their time and they're just fighting nonsense issues a lot of times. So it's just, Oh, okay. Can you do me a favor, Trio? Could you add, Aussie Guy and invite him to the session? Could you do that? Taking this to the shack. I like this route, though. It's a different route than I normally take with the wagon. Seeing a little bit more of the countryside. Happy Friday, Pro. Loving the Saints Row 3 playthrough. Take care, Afina. Thank you, Afina. Okay, I'm gonna see if my friend can add you and invite you to the session, Aussie Guy. People were trying to cancel Mr. Beast? For what? Cancel culture should cancel itself, to be honest. Yeah. It's, It's stupid, Mr. Waifu. Oh yeah, it is a witch hunt. Like, and you if you want to know, like, how stupid the cancel culture garbage is, it's like, literally, there was these idiots on Twitter that tried to cancel me, like, it was just like a week ago, and they kept spamming my Twitter. And basically what they were trying to cancel me for was something so stupid and ridiculous. So what happened was, I was on a GTA stream like a week and a half ago. Somebody asked me a question in the comments, and they asked me, have I ever destroyed somebody's cargo? And I answered the question honestly. And I said that, which I repeat, is honest. I said that I have accidentally destroyed cargo in the past, like flipping vehicles as an accident. But I've only destroyed cargo once intentionally. Only once intentionally. And the one time that I destroyed cargo intentionally, I destroyed 3 crates. So I destroyed like a crate van. And this was in 2016. So 6 years ago. Something that happened 6 years ago on GT Online. And I literally said, the reason that I destroyed the cargo, the guy's cargo, it wasn't just out of nowhere. It wasn't that I just decided to just blow it up. The reason that I just did it was because my friend was moving cargo in a lobby. This guy comes out of nowhere with a jet. This is when people still used jets before the Oppressor Mark II came out. He blew up my friend's cargo with the jet. And then an hour later, that same guy in the lobby was moving crates of his own. And I got pissed over, and I went over in a jet, and I also blew him up and destroyed his crates. So I did it in response to him destroying my friend's cargo. That's the whole reason why I did it. That was the only time I ever intentionally destroyed cargo. I didn't destroy cargo 6 years since I did that. I haven't destroyed cargo ever intentionally. And it was, and I literally, and the thing is, even after I destroyed the cargo, I felt bad. Even after I destroyed the guy's cargo. Even though the guy was a scumbag, I kind of felt bad, you know, doing it after. Because I didn't think 2 wrongs made a right. But I had these idiots on Twitter that were trying to cancel me over it, and they kept spamming my Twitter, and they started saying, like, oh, you're a hypocrite, you have no right to condemn, like, griefing because you did it yourself, professionals agree for blah, 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 this. Like, it's just a bunch of idiots. That's just, I died when you said this is GTA Online, not, Saints Row Online. When did I say that, Mr. Waifu? On, But it was, yeah, these people are just, Oh, it's Aussie guy. He made the super chat earlier, Trio. But that's it. It's like, literally, and like I said, I only destroyed cargo one time intentionally, and that doesn't make me a hypocrite for doesn't make me a hypocrite for condemning cargo griefing, because I haven't done it for 6 years, and the one time I did do it was because some idiot blew up my friend's cargo, so I got pissed and destroyed his cargo. That's the only reason. Oh, you can't hear me either, Brandon? Huh. Wonder why is it I don't know why you guys can't hear me, but it's but literally, I would be a hypocrite. I would be a hypocrite if I still destroyed cargo. If I just went after people's cargo and I destroyed it, and then I would tell people not to do it, that would make me a hypocrite. But I don't do that. I haven't destroyed anything in 6 years, and it's just that's it. You're a hypocrite only when you do something and you tell somebody else not to do it. But I don't do it, and that's just it. But that's just, you know, just. But that whole thing that I explained is minor. Like, it's minor and just stupid. People being dumb on Twitter. But, like, there are people that try to ruin other people's careers and try to ruin their lives over some stupid thing that they did, like, 10 years ago. They'll bring up something that they did, like, 10 years ago or even more. And then they'll say, oh, you know, this person said this 10 years ago and that. And then they'll try to cancel them. They'll try to ruin their life. And it's just that. And it's like, and I'm like, I think to myself, like, how do these people sleep at night? Like, you feel good about yourself, like, doing that to somebody? Like, literally, like, trying to destroy their career, trying to ruin how somebody makes a living? Like, it's just, these people on Twitter, it's like, they have, like, no, like, they have, like, a lot of times they have no remorse, they have no, like, conscience over, like,
You can win, you
I banned the bot, I'm sorry about it, guys. I'm banning him, Brandon. That's from Scarface Coffee.
Avoid me, feller.
I destroyed cargo when I was 15. I still regret it. Well, you know, you didn't do it for some time. That's good then, Jimmy. You stop doing it. Hyper, how often do I play Reddit Online in a week? Just usually once a week. I've been playing a little bit more recently because I'm making my documentary, so I played a few times this week. Which social media do I think is more Twitter? Toxic? Which social media do I think is more toxic? Twitter or 4chan? I don't know much about 4chan. I've heard it before, but I don't even really know what it is. But I would say, like, out of all the social medias I know, like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of that stuff, I'd say Twitter is the most toxic. Twitter has the most insane people on it. Like, just look at the comments on Twitter, look at the replies. Like, people are insane. Like, they're worse than YouTube comments. And YouTube comments can be really bad at times. So, like, Twitter comments are the worst. They're the worst, and people are insane on Twitter. Okay, I'll see you, Bester. We all had skeletons in our closet, and we all needed so other people can point their fingers and say, that's the bad guy. They're not good. Yeah, I don't think anybody is, like, a flawless human being. I think everybody has made mistakes in their past, and, like, to take something that somebody did, like, 10 years ago and, like, try to, like, you know, some, like, post they made on Twitter or said something, like, 10 years ago and try to use that against them, I think that that's, like, that's ridiculous. What do I think about the militarization of futuristic vehicles in GTA Online? I think it's stupid. I don't think that it really has a place in the GTA. I'd say one of my favorite characters is probably Aiden Pierce in Watch Dogs. Not really. He probably would be weirded out, but I don't think he'd be scared, Kevin. Hello from Chicago. Hello, Chino. Oh, hello, Notorious. Do you remember a game called Fable? I know that it was like an Xbox game, but I don't know much about it. Do I think we'll make another Watch Dogs game? I don't know. We'll have to see. Okay. Well, we're almost there to the shack. We had a long drive. Well, I don't really want to... I don't really want to get into that, Mario. I dare you to try Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's very fun. I mean, one day maybe. I haven't even played the I haven't even played Origins. I should play Origins first. What is the distribution mission? Scarface, the world is yours. I made 479,000 in 5 minutes. I think you could make like close to $30 million once you have all the businesses. Oh, I hope I don't crash down here. This area is tight. Okay, I'll invite you in one moment, Aussie guy. Okay, do not drive down here. A lot of people drive down here because they think they're going to save time, and it flips the wagon. Okay, here we go. I mean, I guess Carl saved them because he wanted to help them out. Do I go around finding outfits for the videos, or do you already I go around finding outfits for them, Oh, Trio, is it just me and you in here? Oh, there's no one else in here? Okay. Guess a lot of people are asleep. Okay, Trio, wait, let me form my own posse here. Seen any news headlines recently that pissed you off besides the one I mentioned at the start of the stream? Not really recently, but it's like that story with the man who punched the guy in New York, like, that was just, that's just a failure of the justice system failed in New York really badly. But basically, let me invite Aussie here. For people that want to know what I'm talking about, I made a post recently on Twitter, and okay, let's see here. I'll go to my camp right now. So, get this, guys. This guy this guy is like a career criminal. You know, he talked about this a little bit earlier, but this guy that's like, he's been a criminal for some time. You know, he's been in prison for like he's been in prison since the 90s. So in 1994, you know, the guy was like found guilty of sexual assault in 1994. The guy was 55 today. And basically what happened was he hit this guy in the back of the head on the street, like, for no reason. There was no provocation, nothing whatsoever. So this guy's been on parole, and he hits this guy in the back of the head, like, really hard. We're talking like a really hard punch. He hit this guy in the back of the head, he fell down, hit the concrete, and the guy had, like, brain damage, and he had to get surgery. And the guy is in a coma. The victim is in a coma. And what happened was, New York State, the district attorney dropped the charges. They dropped the charges. This story is going around in headline news, by the way. The story is blowing up. They dropped the charges from a attempted murder to assault, misdemeanor. And basically what that means is that a felony is any kind of a charge that you're going to be in prison for more than a year. Misdemeanor, it's where you're going to be in jail for less than a year. That's what a misdemeanor is. And so they hit this guy in the back of the head. Literally, this guy is in a coma right now. You don't know if he's going to wake up from the coma, and this guy got like a misdemeanor assault charge. And the ridiculous part of the story is that he had been released from jail, so they released him with no bail. They just released him on the streets. And then after they released him on the streets, the government realized they made a mistake, and the guy actually violated his parole, and they already released him. And so they had to find him again, and they found him, and they arrested him a second time. But I was just like, I was just reading that story, and I was like, I cannot believe this. I was like, how stupid are these district attorneys? Like, how incompetent is it? This guy nearly killed somebody, and the guy, I really hope the guy makes a full recovery, the victim. But we don't know. He's in a coma right now. There's a chance he might never wake up. It's horrible. And the fact that this guy is getting, like, an assault charge instead of, like, attempted murder now, like, you know, what is wrong with these district attorneys? These district attorneys are just stupid. Like, they should just all be recalled. All of them. They should resign. Like, I don't know, like, what kind of, who was the stupid district attorney that decided to change that from attempted murder to, assault? Oh, I want to do that video one day, Kevin. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do the Godfather, game, too, one day. Yeah, I'll do the Godfather game. I will do another lore video soon, Josh. Sorry, I'm so a little tired. But I'll do another lore video, probably soon. I'll probably do one on Lost and Damned, which I wanted to do one for some time on it. I'll play the new Saints Row game. Also, if you guys don't know if you want to get the new Saints Row game or not, watch my channel. Because I'll play through the game from start to finish, I'll do a playthrough of it, and then I'll talk about what I think of it, and I'll talk about whether I think it's good or not.
That's what you just do there.
What?
Yeah. I'm here.
Something wrong with Pat's mic.
Oh, I can hear you guys
Something.
now.
Yes, we can't hear him.
I can hear you guys. Hello?
Oh.
Can you guys
I
hear
can
me now?
you.
Can you hear me now, Brandon? Can you hear me now?
No.
Rockstar ruined Johnny and screw Ashley. Yeah, Ashley is like one of the stupidest characters ever. Like Ashley is like the beginning of the end for Johnny. Okay, let's get these two guys here. Yeah, I know about that, Mario. I can't believe that people actually run as that, like, as a platform like that when they're running for office. Like, defunding the police. Like, how can a politician run on a platform like that? That makes no sense. That's just dumb. I know there's bad cops out there that, you know, shouldn't be cops, and they should be fired or in prison depending on what they did. But the vast majority of police officers are good people. And the fact that they're getting demonized by, like, you know, they're getting demonized by these politicians, and the politicians are making it seem like every single cop is just a bad person. That's just not true. No politician runs and abolish the police. You would be surprised. I have literally seen politicians that say defund the police. There are people who say it on the internet. Politicians have said it too.
Pro, do you want to do the canoe mission after this?
The what mission? What mission, Trio?
The canoe mission.
Maybe not. Okay, let's see here.
Hey, you get out of here. I said get moving or else.
Damn, I missed.
Get in there.
Oh, I'm gonna have fun watching you die.
Bird's gonna get there feeling you, Dwayne, Dwayne.
Okay, got him here.
What the hell you playing at? You better pray I don't get loose.
Oh, we only got 3 minutes. We should get these guys back quickly. Yeah, I'll try to do the Saints Row 3 DLC missions, but I might not make it to all of them.
No, not again.
Who's worse, Maria or Ashley? Ashley, because she actually caused Johnny to die.
What a day, huh?
Maria, as stupid as she was, she almost got Tony and Claude killed, but she didn't get them killed in the end. Ashley did.
I'm gonna find you.
Oh, come on, no.
Sucking piss ant.
Come on. No. Horse, stop. Oh my god. Ah, my god damn. No, I haven't watched the Saints Row reboot story trailer.
I'm gonna find you!
Well, you know, I don't know why corporations would get involved in stuff like that, Mario. I always found that weird. No, I would disagree. I think that the police should still go to their locations and try to help. If the police get defunded, though, it's because the police are, you know, there to help everybody regardless if somebody's anti-cop or not. The police are there to help everyone. But like if the police get defunded at the same time and then like crime goes up, the same people who wanted to defund the police can't really complain because they wanted the police defunded. That's okay.
Shit.
Okay, I'll see you, Master Chief.
Oh, come on.
It's not about the police being defunded, it's about allocating the extra money they accrue and putting it in something different like the public schools.
I ain't for this.
What I'll say about that is
Damn good job getting.
I don't think you realize what police budgets are like. Like, and I'm not trying to be rude to you or like attacking you, but I don't think you realize what police budgets are like. Police budgets are all a lot of times on a tight budget. It obviously depends on the area. Like, you know, the NYPD are gonna have a bigger budget than like a small town in like Arkansas, for instance. But police are on budgets a lot of times. They get a budget and then they're assigned a certain amount of funds, and they have to also pay for things like overtime. And sometimes people would be very surprised on the amount of cops that are actually patrolling. Like, a lot of people think that a lot of cops are patrolling, but if you actually knew the amount of cops that were patrolling in your area, you'd be very surprised how little cops there are actually patrolling in your area. Like, a lot of people think that there's tons of cops patrolling all at once. It's not like that. Sometimes the police will take a long time, and I'm telling you that, like, taking money from funds away from the police is just going to make the situation worse, because sure, you could put it in. I understand where you're coming from, that you want to help public schools. I'm not against, you know, putting more funds into public schools, but the only question is, where do you get it from? Not the police fund, because then what's going to happen if, for instance, you take away money from the police, right? And now the police have less officers on duty. The criminals can tell. The criminals know how many cops typically patrol in the area. The criminals see that there's less police on duty, and now crime goes up in the area. So now the school might get more funding in the area, but now the crime has gone up also. So you just basically, you might have helped like the school with its funding, but then you created another problem now. So that's just that's, you know, my opinion on that. Depending on how many cops are patrolling, there could be more criminals committing crimes. Oh yeah, and in a city like New York, there's probably more criminals that are committing crimes than like cops like on duty, like just on that specific patrol, like. And like I don't think that like people like realize a lot of times what police resources are like in a small town. Like a small town, for instance, like police resources are very little. There might be like 1 or 2 like cops, like basically what happened was my friend, he's a state trooper in Maine. Which Maine is a very rural state. It's in the northeast, and so they don't have a lot of funding for police in Maine. Like the entire, my buddy told me that like the entire SWAT in like Maine, like the tactical police, all of them are only like 100 or so. Like for the entire state, they only have like 100 actual SWAT team members, and those SWAT team members are spread across. So that's like that's literally like and if you were to cut like a state like Maine, if you were to cut their budget, that would really hurt them. Like they had my buddy, he had like a bad situation once in like his small town where there was this guy, there was a breakup. This girl broke up with this guy. The guy was being abusive, and so she broke up with him. The guy did not like that. He got really angry that she broke up with him. He went into their house and actually took the family hostage at gunpoint. And what happened was then they had a standoff with the police. The police surrounded the house, and eventually they got the guy. They didn't kill him, but they stopped him, and they stopped him from hurting anybody in the house. And, like, imagine that type of situation. If you had, like, if you cut the police budget in that, you might only have one cop responding to a situation like that instead of, like, 5. So, like, you have a guy taking hostages in, like, a building. Like, it's just, you need a lot of people for that type of situation. But that's, like, you know, police budgets aren't just all simple, where it's just, like, police have all these budgets, and it just goes to, everything. Like, I don't think people realize a lot of times, like, what the budgets are like. Get this. What's my horse is just stuck right now. It's ridiculous. Okay, out. Saints Row 2's customization activities, GTA 4's story, combat, and DLC, Scarface's economy and gore, and Sleeping Dog's atmosphere and skills would be the perfect open-world crime game, in my opinion. It does sound like an amazing game. Too bad nobody's probably gonna make it, Mr. Waifu. I don't know why people struggle to make open-world games today anymore. Thank you for that super chat. Why do people say that America is the worst country? Those people are idiots. You know, I would say that, you know, like, it's like, the thing about it is that, like, let me see if there's is there any food my character can eat right now? My stamina is, like, really bad. I need something for, here, kidney beans, okay. Maybe I'll play a little poker, probably haven't played that in some time. But look, in my personal opinion, and this is not a fact, in my personal opinion, for me, America is the best country in the world for me. That's just how I feel personally. Because I'm gonna have to go in the game chat to play poker, by the way, guys. Because I grew up in this country, and I like this country. However, though, I can't, like, anybody that grows up in any country can say that their country is the best country for them, because they grew up there and they liked it. But just for me personally, America is the best, you know, place, and I can't really see myself living anywhere else. But, you know, we're not a perfect country. We do stupid things, and we make mistakes, and, you know, there's bad things that go on in America, you know. But for somebody to say that America is the worst country in the world, that's just stupid. No, it doesn't even come close to being the worst country in the world. Not at all. And, I don't know how anybody would possibly think that. That's just ridiculous. You're allowed to say America sucks, right? Yep, you're absolutely allowed to. And that's the thing, is that, you know, it's in this country, you can talk crap about this country. You can say that America is like the most evil, worst place to live in the world. Nothing bad is gonna happen to you. You don't have to worry about the police coming to your house in the middle of the night and taking you away. That's not gonna happen. But I mean, you know, try to go to China, for instance, and just say that, like, you know, say something about that in China. Even say that the Communist Party in China sucks. Or try to bring up, like, Mao Zedong, that he was a murderer. Or, like, bring up, like, you know, the Tiananmen Square massacre. They will arrest you. They will get rid of you really quickly. And so that's like, I don't think people, I think people take it for granted a lot of times, the places that they grew up in. I know we're not perfect, and we have problems, but it's like, there's just like, you know, anybody that would say that America is like the worst country in the world, I think is just, no idea what they're talking about. I mean, look at Russia, for instance. Like, Russia is that country. It's like, you'll call it a war, what they're doing in Ukraine. If you try to call it a war, because they're not allowed to call it war in Russia, they call it special military operation. If you try to call it a war, they'll arrest you for that. And you could possibly face 15 years in prison for that. And, also, Russia has, like, if you look at the conviction rate in Russia, Russia's conviction rate is like 95% or more like that. Which means that when the government is after you in Russia, if they want to bring charges against you, you almost have no chance. They're gonna get you, no matter what. And so, like, people, like, you know, the fact that, like, I see people, like, you know, praising places like China or Russia, saying these places are, like, awesome places to live. You would not want to live in places like that. I have nothing against the people from those countries, but the governments, like, in those places are just really bad. That's true, Viper, yes. I don't have any pairs here. I guess I'll just check with this. Wouldn't defunding the police also lead to more scumbags wearing the badge? You're talking about corrupt cops. Look at what the federal conviction rate is in Russia, Victor. When the federal police in Russia are after somebody, they're almost always convicted. Like, when do you hear about a not guilty verdict in Russia? Whenever it's, like, any kind of, like, high-profile case, anything like that, it's always a conviction. The courts are rigged in Russia. There's really no denying it. They're after you. They'll throw you in jail. That's it. You're not gonna get a fair trial. No, Russia isn't a democracy. No, I would not say that. They pretend like they are, but they're not. Where are the Modern Warfare 2 videos? They'll be on they'll be uploaded in a few days from now. Any country, if you literally say that it's a war when it's a war, and they try to throw you in prison for that, that's not a democracy for me. Well, it's, I'm about 6 feet. Yes, well, if you defunded the police, you would probably get, like, you would probably have an increase in corrupt cops, but you would also have a lot of people, like, resigning the police. They'd quit. What were you saying about Chinese propaganda on Quora? Okay, so there's this website, called Quora, right? And, some people, Quora, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Quora is like it's like a, answer site. So it's similar to what we had with Yahoo Answers back in the day. Damn, I don't have any pairs. But, now, so here's the thing. Quora, you can ask any kind of question on Quora, anything you want. Political, geographic, math, cooking, anything that you want to ask on Quora, you can ask. And now, if you try to look up any question on Quora related to China, like the government in China, anything on it. Like, if you try any kind of answer that has a few hundred views, is almost always pro, like, Chinese Communist Party. Like, the Chinese government has thrown so much propaganda on Quora, and Quora is ironically banned in China. So it's not even allowed in China. And yet, the Chinese government has thrown so much propaganda on Quora to try to persuade Western audiences that it's actually good in China, and that people aren't, like, that people actually support it and like the government and everything like that. go check here. But, like, I'll give you an example. So, when I look up anything on Quora, or, like, related to, like, China, if I look up, like, human rights in China, right? Like, all of the answers will be, like, propaganda. Like, it'll just be nonsense. It'll be a bunch of whataboutism. Like, it'll just be like, well, what about this in, like, America and, like, everything like that. It won't ever answer, like, the question. It'll always be some, like, nonsense. And then if you look up, like, the Taiwan thing, like, it's, like, all the answers on Quora will always say that, like, Taiwan is a part of China, and they'll try to call Taiwan the aggressor, which, how is Taiwan the aggressor in that situation? Taiwan just wants the right to exist on its own, that's it. Taiwan doesn't want to invade China or anything, they just want to be left alone, that's it. So for people to say that Taiwan is, like, the aggressor, that's, like, one of the stupidest things that I heard. But it's everywhere. And then if you look up, like, Mao Zedong, for instance, he was the communist leader of China. He killed millions of people. If you look him up, there'll be people that will be defending him. They'll be saying that the killings aren't true, or just a bunch of communist propaganda that's all over Quora. Just look up anything China related to Quora. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It's all over the place. It's such a massive problem. Also, plaintiff lawyers in Russia, Eastern Europe will purposely drag out court cases and pay the defendant to continue the case. However, I believe this really only applies to suing. Well, I mean, look at a country like Poland, for instance. Poland's justice system is in Eastern Europe, but Poland's justice system is way more balanced than Russia. It's like we have high-profile court cases in America, and sometimes they're guilty and sometimes they're innocent. But whenever you have any kind of, like, federal case in Russia, it's almost always guilty. Almost always. Whenever they have any kind of federal case in Russia, it's almost always guilty. The person never, it's never not guilty. Yeah, John Cena is a joke. I've been loving your Lost and Damned series. Thanks, man. So why do the different countries seem to like doing business with China so much? It's greed. That's ultimately what it is. Because China produces a lot of the Western world's products for very cheap, and so a lot of Western countries deal with China. If you notice, for instance, a lot of Western countries will talk about human rights in a lot of countries, but they won't really talk about it much in China. Why? Because if they try to mention human rights violations in China, the Chinese government will sanction them, and it'll hurt their economy. And so that's why they avoid talking about China. It makes them hypocrites, which they pretty much are at that point. So it's, but I agree with you. Like, I think that, I think the Western world should stand up to China more, the Chinese government. I really think the Western world should say something to them, but they're cowards a lot of times. They won't say anything. They'll just let what the Chinese government does pass. And I mean, like, most of the countries in the world don't even recognize Taiwan, even though Taiwan is a democratic country, because they're scared of the Chinese government. So that's just what did John Cena do? John Cena uploaded an apology video to the Chinese government. He literally uploaded an apology video because he called Taiwan a country, and that made me lose all respect for John Cena. Oh, I'm using a Blue Yeti mic, and I'm using a Logitech 1080p camera. I don't know what the camera's called, but let's see if I get some good cards here. I found your channel for your Lost and Damned and Scarface The World Is Yours playthrough. Oh, thank you, Galil. I hope that you enjoyed my videos. I don't know, maybe Mexico, a random user. And are people allowed to have human rights in Russia? Well, I would say the human rights in Russia are a little bit better than in China, but not by much.
How's life been treating you?
Yeah, I want to do another crazy current events video. I just don't know when I'll get around to it. Damn, I'm not getting any good cards here. Well, that's your opinion, Kevin, but I just have no respect for John Cena anymore.
How are you doing? All right. That's nice to hear.
I think I'll make a Lost and Damned lore video. What do you mean, Alien? I know that Burt Reynolds had some problems with Rockstar, but I don't think it was ever explained what the problems were. I don't know who that is, Mario. Crazy current event videos are super underrated on your channel. I don't exactly like commentary most of the time, but your commentary hits different. Thank you, Mr. Waifu. Well, I think Take-Two really... Well, Take-Two does control Rockstar, but the question is how much do they influence the games? Speaking of Top Gun Maverick, China actually thought that the Dark Star prop is real, and they tried to spy on it, which they got fooled by that. I'm assuming that's some fighter jet or something in Top Gun. I haven't seen it. I remember it was funny, like, a few years ago, like a decade ago, The Onion, if you know The Onion is like that parody news site, The Onion did like a story in which North Korea was gonna fire like nuclear missiles at the moon to try to like carve out Kim Jong-il's face on the moon, and what happened was the Chinese state media like thought that was real, and they made a story about it saying how stupid the American media is that they're reporting on this stuff when they didn't even realize that it's a parody, and they made themselves look stupid. Oh, yeah, I'll play the Godfather 2 game this year. I just don't know when, but I'll play it. Yeah, I want to make more lore videos. Okay. I have one pair. Hopefully, if he has any of the others, if he has a 6 in Ace or a 9, I'm gonna lose. Oh, actually, no, I think I'm gonna win this now. I'm gonna win this. There we go. Nice, got it. Oh yeah, I remember that. I was in high school when that happened. The Cuban government got angry over the Fidel Castro mission in Black Ops 1. I remember that.
Well then. So I hear.
Do you think other players are checking your live streams? Oh, you mean the players I'm playing poker with? I doubt it. The random players. Yeah, and that was a really stupid comment. I don't know how somebody could say that about the government of China, saying that it's free. I remember that. Venezuelan government was angry about mercenaries too. The evidence and lore video, the evidence and depth within the lore videos are great. Thanks, man.
Well, crime's on the up again. My Eleanor.
Bert was acting like a big jerk, and Rockstar wanted to get someone else to voice Avery, but had already got what they wanted from Bert and kept his lines. It's why Avery was killed in Liberty City stories. Did I see your comment earlier? I didn't, JM58. Let me see. Thank you for the super chat.
Jebediah still falling in love with soiled dogs. Well, that don't surprise me none.
I don't see your comment here, JM. I'm checking. Just...
Hey, out of the way. You hear the law was taking money from some road agents? They got
What was your question, JM?
them bastard sons. Shot the poor boy right through his eyes.
Remember when North Korea banned laughing? They banned laughing for 10 days. It was on the 10-year anniversary of Kim Jong-il's death, and North Korea made laughing illegal. What are you talking about, Viper? Call of Duty, Google. Hey, Everett.
Yep.
So I hear.
Well then.
Might actually win this. Why is North Korea so strict? Well, it's a military dictatorship and it's considered the most unfree country in the world. Oh, whoa. Oh, thank you very much. I won the hand. I had an ace high straight. There we go. I think we're gonna exit here. Did pretty well in poker there. I just made up the 479,000 earlier in Scarface The World Is Yours game. Oh, did you sell, like, in Little Havana? That's like your first, like, neighborhood that, like, you start selling in. Yes, Viper.
Partner, glad you came back. Look around. Take your time.
Hey, Pro, did you see my super chat earlier? I'm sorry I didn't expert. What did you ask me? Let me see here. I'm gonna just check on the, 1 second here. I'll just see if I can see your super chat. Hi Pro, I just started playing GTA Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC. I love the high frame rates and beautiful graphics, but I hate the amount of modders. I agree, Expert. That's why I don't play on PC. I could play on PC, no problem, but I don't play because I don't want to deal with modders. Thank you for the super chat. I'm sorry I didn't see your super chat earlier. I apologize for that.
All sorts of folks stop
30 million plus sales in Scarface are an ego booster. Yep. Well, that's the thing, is if you die, though, at any point, you lose that, like, bonus that you get. Like, the bonus keeps building up as long as you don't die. Ray Liotta also, huh? Alien. I know Ray Liotta was pissed at Rockstar. I didn't know the reason, though.
But my shop keeps this whole
I like the MC businesses super because they're just passive. In reuniting the family in GTA 5, how do you think Trevor would have reacted if he heard Laszlo Tracy in the tattoo parlor? Oh, yeah, he would have done way worse than what Michael did. Do you believe in aliens? I think it's possible that there's some life out there, but we don't know. Yeah, Ray Liotta was a great actor, Bunny. It's unfortunate he was taken from us. The average GTA Online fans versus the average Saints Row 2 fans is Scarface enjoyer. And you can literally do almost the same things in GTA Online in both these games, but much better and with less stress and toxicity. So like a combination of them?
All sorts of folks stop in here. Chief Dunbar purchases from me.
Do I believe in the Wendigo Bigfoot? No. Yes, I'll try the Boss Factory out. I'm about to buy the Cursed Babylon Club and Scarface The World Is Yours, yeah. And I want to do a video on the Babylon Club one day, but the Babylon Club is, that is just, that club is cursed. Babylon Club is cursed because it's constantly getting shut up. I'm about to buy the, oh, and, if you, my favorite fighting game, probably Fight Night Champion, old game. Oh, a lot of them, Kevin. But I could probably tell some more stories in the next stream about that. I mentioned the super chat about, North Korea as a theocracy. Isn't that theocracy? That's like a religious government, right? I'm gonna look it up, but I think Iran is a theocracy, right? Let's see. Yeah, it's basically a religious dictatorship. That's what a theocracy is. I wouldn't really say North Korea is a theocracy. That's like more like Iran and Saudi Arabia are more theocracies. But it's like North Korea declares itself an atheist state, but in reality, it's like the religion is kind of the leader. But they don't really have a religion around the leader, but they recognize the leader as almost like a godlike being.
Price again sometime soon.
Would I rather go to Dillon Street or Babylon Club? Well, Dillon Street, because as bad, even though there's some crazy things that happen on Dillon Street, it's not as bad as the Babylon Club, at least. Well, I know there are some churches in North Korea, but it's heavily regulated, and churches are discriminated, and any kind of religion, Buddhists are discriminated as well in North Korea.
Hello, sir. How are you today?
Do you know that the delivery of tobacco is taken?
Why don't I like long hair? I guess because it gets in the way of a lot of stuff.
Oh, everyone's gabbing about that.
Can you please say a sentence in Polish? Ja, zaraz skończę moje nagrywanie. I'm gonna finish my recording soon. I mean in Polish. That's like, will I ever play the Sopranos game? Yes. I want to play the Sopranos game. That game is actually awesome. It's actually like the game is bad, like the combat is bad, but it's so funny, and like the dialogue is actually really good, and the story's decent. But I guess I will wrap up the stream here, guys. I'm gonna end it off here, and we're gonna do the GTA stream will be on Sunday, and I will probably have a video for you guys in the weekend also, and the other ending in Saints Row, the third, will be tomorrow. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed my my stream, and I hope that you guys everyone have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a nice